Number 6, District 1 Counselor. A vacancy exists for District 1 Counselor. Replacement would be until 11/13/2023. Discussion, if any. Counselor Ludwig.
I'd like to nominate Jim Nasuda for District 1 Counselor.
I'd like to second it. Nomination by Counselor Ludwig of Jim Nasuda and seconded by Counselor Ungary. Any other nominations?
No nomination. I just want to
Okay.
make a comment.
So I have a motion to close nominations.
There's a motion to close. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion to close by Counselor Ludwig, seconded by Counselor Ungary. Discussion? Counselor Mangini?
Yes, I do want to comment. I will be voting no. And the reason I'm voting no is because I think it's very inconsiderate and out of character of this council to put forward a name. We don't even have the application here, by the way, of a person to fill the seat of our dear council friend Joey Bosco in the absence of our mayor, who is the leader of our council. I think it's in poor taste to do this, so I'll be voting no.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Counselor Ludwig.
We had no idea, first of all, that Bob was not going to be here. And when the late, great Red Edgar passed away, we appointed Bob within a month. So we've waited within a month. We've waited well over a month. This has nothing to do with Bob not being here. I mean, it's time to, again, fill Councilor Bosco's seat. It has nothing to do with him not being here. And I disagree with that comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Counselor Ungary?
Yes, I'd like to say a few words about Jim Nasuda. He is our candidate. He's been a member of this community for 33 years. Some of his credentials: he was in the Connecticut Army National Guard for 10 years, the Wilson Volunteer Department for 10 years, Hazardville Volunteer Department 10 years, Enfield Youth Hockey. He was a director and coach for 8 years. Independent Electrical Contractors of New England Board of Directors and President 11 years. He was the Independent Electrical Contractors nationally and the Northeast Regional Director for 8 years. He was on the Board of Directors of Connecticut Subcontractors Association. He was on the Enfield High School Building Committee. He was an authorized OSHA trainer and has been teaching 20 years in construction industry. He has the values, the integrity, and the honesty that I think Joey Bosco possesses, and I think he is a perfect candidate for this seat.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Councilor Hopkins?
Just as a point of order, so on the motion to close nominations, can we vote on that and then continue our discussion with the actual
Oh, yeah,
vote
I probably
itself?
missed that. I apologize. All in favor of closing nominations? 9 in favor, none against. Thank you. Did you have anything else?
Yes, for discussion on the motion
Sure.
itself, I think it's important to clarify some facts. There were 3 applicants for this position. One of them was recommended by the Republican Town Committee. 2 of them applied on their own. We, as a Democratic caucus, interviewed all 3. I think it's very important to note no one was asked about their religion. That would be a very improper question. And I absolutely agree with Mr. Grande. That would be wrong to do. There were a couple, what you might imagine, politically sensitive questions, and I'll explain why. One of those was, do you believe that Enfield teachers are grooming students? This refers to a particularly pernicious recent conspiracy theory that there is a group of Enfield teachers who are pedophiles and are grooming children, there is no evidence for that. It is a ridiculous thought and very damaging to our school system. There's simply no evidence for that. If there was evidence for that, they would be investigated by Enfield police or maybe even the state police. There is no evidence of that. So why ask an applicant that? They're not a Board of Education nominee. They are a town councilor. But if someone is willing to engage in this kind of conspiracy thinking that so damages the town, that's concerning. So all 3 applicants were asked this question. Unfortunately, Mr. Nasuda did not deny that this particular issue, did not say this is not a real thing, and that was concerning for me. That is a reason why I can't support him here The other question was, do you believe the last presidential election was legitimate? Thankfully, all three all three applicants did say yes, and the reason why that was asked, that's a basic foundational tenet of our democracy. If you're going to participate in municipal government, you can't believe the big lie. That is very concerning. But thankfully, everybody answered that well. So for me personally, I liked the third candidate. The second candidate was not somebody who lived in District 1 and not somebody I could support. So here today, I cannot vote for Mr. Nasuda because of that concern. I think it's a pretty easy question to answer. There is no grooming of Enfield children, and it's very concerning that that continues to percolate and circulate around the town. So thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Despard?
I just wanted to sort of basically second everything that Councillor Hopkins is saying, but then also to add that I do not believe that these seats belong to political parties. Sure, we are all of a political party, but I think the people of Enfield, I think that they vote in the person, not the party. And so there were 3 people of this party that applied. We interviewed them all. We asked them all the same questions. And the person we are considering right now was the least qualified of the 3. So that is why I will not be voting for him. And I would also like to add that, yes, I do want to go on the record as I think we as a council should explore turning these sort of things into special elections. I think that we need to give more power to the people of Enfield than we do to political parties in Enfield. And that's my piece.
Councillor Finger? Oh, I'm sorry. Maria, you'll go next.
No.
Maria, go.
No, please, you go first.
Somebody go.
I'm going to say a few things. One is I disagree with Councilor Mangini. We don't hold things back because somebody's not here. This council, the councils in the past years that I've attended things, they've voted on things to make things happen in this town. Because Councilor Crisati decided to spend the rest of the day with his family after the wedding. That was his choice. The Republican Party did not know about that. And you can't hold anybody against that. That's not our fault. It's not their fault. And I'm tired of people pointing to everybody about faults. After losing my stepbrother by bond, and listening today and watching the Bosco family and stuff, I was really 100% behind Ashley. But I'm changing my vote tonight to Jim Nasuda.
Councillor Prisoner.
In my opinion, this appointment for filling this vacancy in D1 has taken way too long. But I believe part of it is because the counselor we're replacing is irreplaceable. The reason I am sitting here is because of Joey. He encouraged me to run. And there isn't anybody that's going to fill Joey's shoes. Nobody. He was a man with great integrity, honesty, loyalty, and above all, he served the residents of Enfield without bias. He left politics at the door. He was a simple man who lived a simple life, helping others freely. He loved his family, his friends, and most of all, this town. He worked across party lines for 14 years. Think about that. Think about it. 14 years he gave up grandkids, dinners. I have talked to both majority and minority caucuses, and I've said both. Let's just leave it empty. If we're going to play politics, leave it empty. But we can't. I know we can't. But I also know this. Since I've been involved in politics, which is 5 years in this town, I have seen 6 vacancies on both majority and minority. And they were filled within the time, and they were filled with respect. There was none of this. It is appalling. And I'm tired. Can we just be nice? Just be nice and do what's right for the people in Enfield. I will vote for Jim Nasuda. He is our caucus's nominee. And I stand by it.
Anything else? Councilor Mangini?
Thank you. Just a point of clarification. I've been around the block a few times. We had a candidate for replacement years ago. His name is Tom Arnone. I think people are aware of Mr. Arnone, who's our, representative now. He was blocked. He was blocked. No, we don't want you by the Republican side because he was a Democratic candidate for fulfilling a seat. So Tom had to go out and win his seat, which he very handedly did, number one. Secondly, I was not aware that this issue was going to be coming forth this evening. Again, there is no application in here on your chosen candidate. Yes, we did interview the man. However, I feel like I've been blindsided. Number three, I stick to my position that we have a missing council person who happens to be the leader of our council, our mayor. And Doug, I'm going to disagree with you wholeheartedly. This is disrespectful, truly. So therefore, I'm standing behind my point. And, to Marie's point of being civil and kind, I have to agree with her. This should not take on a political tone, but it has. So I'm going to be voting no.
Councilor Ungar?
With that being said, I do want to mention that was in 2011, and he wasn't appointed because he just lost the previous election, and it was only a few months earlier. But all the other times when other people had stepped down, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that have stepped down, and we agreed and placed all those people in those seats.
And the point is? I mean, I'm not going to go back and forth.
One time, someone lost an election,
has
and we
the floor,
didn't
though. She has the
enforce it.
floor.
We didn't support him. We've supported all the other candidates that were put forth. The other thing I want to say is that the democratic process, we have a process that we go through. The Republican Town Committee accepts applications. We have an executive committee that goes through all the applications. We come up with a candidate. That's who we put forward, and we respect that process. And that's who we put up was Jim Nasuda. And I think it's an educated person that you ask them any question. If they're not sure of the answer and they can't say matter of fact yes or no, it's just say, I'll look into it. And I was told that was his answer when you asked him about that, about the teachers. And I support our teachers. I love our teachers. And if you're backed up against the wall and somebody asks you a question, you don't know the answer, I would say, well, I'll look into it. Hope to God it's no. The certain questions you ask, but I'm saying to hold that against a candidate with all his credentials, he's a stand-up guy, and there's no reason to not support him.
Any other discussion? I will say a very brief few words on this. I'm actually in the middle a little here, physically. Ironically, and where I stand on this. I have to be honest, I've seen a lot of vacancies filled, and this isn't how they are filled. When we've had vacancies, the majority party goes to the minority party and says, give us 3 names. Give us 3 people. We'll tell you, we'll interview them, we'll let you know who we like. That's happened. Agree with it, disagree with it. I've been here. I've seen it. That's fine.
Go ahead.
I have the floor. I
true.
have the floor, right? Right? I have the floor. So I understand this is very emotionally charged, Mike. I'll let you have the floor afterwards if you'd like it. That's fine. That being said, I have seen the majority party grant names that the minority party has asked for, and I've seen people be rejected. There's a little bit of both. Unfortunately, I don't like the process that's happening right now. That's my issue. We asked for months for more than one candidate. We were told no. 2 other people did apply on their own, but those people were not endorsed by the Republican Town Committee. I have a problem with that, too. I am of the opinion that a Republican seat is a Republican seat, and it should be filled by a Republican-endorsed candidate. That being said, Again, this process is my issue, and we have asked for months. We are not sitting here today, June 6th, because of one specific person or one party digging in their heels more than another party. We all should be ashamed of ourselves to an extent.
No.
That being said, it is what it is. We will take our vote and we will go from there. Is there any other discussion?
I'm sorry, I'm not going to let
Counselor
it go.
Ludwig.
We had a candidate back in the end of April, and that was our candidate. Again, this we've never interviewed 3 candidates for the 2 open positions that we appointed Bob to, or the Board of Ed. We had one candidate, we interviewed him, we put him on the council. So I don't care what happened in 2011. The last few years, this is what we did. So, and we didn't ask for 3 candidates. Sorry, that is not true. I want to make sure that's on the record.
That's fine. I will respond to that. No, it may not be true that you did, but go ask your previous.
Let's go back 35 years and see what the former Democrat. I mean, come on.
That's fine. Like I said, we all have our own issues. Any other discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
I just want to say that in the last 10, 11 years, anybody that the Democrats have put up, we have voted in. The other one that Cindy is referring to, I wasn't around then. And also, it's unfortunate that Mayor Crissati is not here, but I have full confidence in our deputy mayor to conduct this meeting and conduct this vote.
Any other discussion? Sensing none. Roll call, please.
Counselor Finger.
Jim Masuda.
Counselor Hopkins.
Against.
Counselor Ludwig.
Jim Nasuda.
Counselor Mangini.
Against.
Counselor Pisner.
Jim Nasuda.
Counselor Santinella.
Against.
Counselor Ungary.
Jim Nasuda.
Deputy Mayor Sakala.
Against.
Counselor Despard.
Against.
That's 4 in favor, 5 against. No abstentions.